All right. Are you ready?
No. No, as nobody's been waiting for like 4 years for this camera. That's not what's happened.
You were saying before the show started that Nikon being a little antagonistic, saying, "Are you ready like this?" Like, I think everybody's been ready for the Z8 for a long time.
I think people were ready for the Z8 before the Z8 was even an idea. People were like D850, where's the Z8?
I'm
Well,
concerned about my readiness for this announcement, but just kidding. It's really just
somebody barely got up.
oh yeah. No, it was
So
that is actually completely inaccurate, Kemper. I got up on time. I had a lot of problems and I don't feel good, so they were frustrating problems.
He was frustratingly ready.
Kemper's selling this as though I couldn't get up though, so
I guess that's a good point. Somebody's grouchy.
Toby's
Somebody's
like,
ready to fight.
if this mic wasn't attached to a stick, I would drop it. All right. And on that note, we're ending the live stream. Hope anybody was joined. I don't know. We'll see you guys later. Just kidding.
So we were hoping to start it a little sooner so we could talk about all the predictions of the Z8, but I guess we're just going to be actually reacting because we have literally 1 minute.
What is your reaction right now? Go for it.
Well, there are some pictures that got leaked and like real pictures, and it looks like a halfway between a Z7 II and a Nikon Z9. So
my
are
prediction.
there any differences?
Not. I don't see anything different other than that. It's not a dial on the top here. The stream is going to start here in just a second, but I can go ahead and show.
Maybe Nikon will be late with their stream starting too.
Are they ready? I'm just kidding.
So yeah, here's this picture. Here's the back. I mean, it's pretty standard Nikon mirrorless stuff.
And it's interesting they kept the mode buttons and stuff. They just took the dial away on that side.
Well, it's just like the Z9. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly how the Z9 is. So anyway. All right. So the stream should be starting. So yeah, kind of looking at those pictures, it really does look like the cross between the Z9 and the Z6 and Z7 II. I mean, more Z9. The weight is supposedly 910 grams, which is almost 2 pounds on the nose. So a little bit heavier than like the A7R5, which is about 1.6 pounds. So, it's still a little chunky boy.
That's like 25% bigger.
Yeah. I mean, we've always wanted that bigger, beefier mirrorless camera. So we're finally getting it. I mean that Z9 was
for longer.
Oh, here we go.
Even in difficult conditions, to meet new challenges. It means ready for action. For every once-in-a-lifetime moment, no matter how fast it comes, how unexpected.
You definitely
it means the freedom and flow to tell your story from any vantage point, confident yet unobtrusive. It means capturing more than the eye can see, more than the moment lets you fully appreciate. In rich detail with the scope to take it further for astonishing works that inspire. Are you ready to step into new terrain, to face any challenge, big or small, to push your creativity further, to take action? Nikon Z8. Ready? Action.
Very Nikon. That's pretty good. I think it's same as Z8, 9. Man, I didn't catch all that. It's got 4K 60.
This only says 8K 30, so it doesn't have the same video specs.
No, it said 8K 60 up above it. I think. Did it? Now I'm confused.
The text is kind of small and weirdly
Going too quick.
placed.
You gotta be really ready to read it.
120 frames per second.
It's like,
Are you ready to read the text quick?
the tiny text. Alright, it's got the same viewfinder.
What's the competitor though?
It's subject detection. Alright.
World's smallest size of a face.
That's a weird flex. What?
That really, literally is a weird flex.
We can detect your small face.
Detecting the world's smallest size of a face. Alright, we got a battery grip. So it could be a full-on Z9.
Indeed. For those of you
light
that
up,
regretted your purchase, ooh, that's always fun though.
Always fun.
They got some good photos for this.
They definitely did. They definitely understand their audience and aesthetic. Like the shots they're showing and like the stuff, like they definitely, Nikon's like, we know who's buying Nikons right now. $8K oversampled 4K.
That's nice.
Okay.
That's a weird feature to put in, but
Okay. And softening.
Ready. Action.
did I miss the megapixels?
They haven't, I don't think they've said it yet.
I feel like
When you're looking for your next camera, you're really looking for a better experience. Better image quality, sharper images, more features, more performance, faster, smaller, lighter. You're looking to outfit yourself with a camera that'll give you more creative freedom or perhaps even enable you to grow your skills in areas you've never explored before. And that's
That is what
why
I look
today
for.
we're excited to introduce to you the Z8, an extraordinary new camera that brings cutting-edge performance to photographers and videographers alike.
The Z8 is a camera that can do literally everything.
Accuracy, precision, speed. I had the power of my Z9 in a smaller body.
The new Z8 makes no compromises.
Powerful.
Magical.
Well, at least Nikon knows what they did.
If I had to sum up this camera,
They're
in
like,
one
it was
word,
planned, you
what
guys.
would
We
it
didn't
be?
know.
Pretty much just did a Z9 with no grip.
Effortless.
The Z8 is absolutely essential for me as a wildlife photographer. It was easier to hold for long periods of time. It was easier to get to locations with.
I love everything about how it renders skin tones. You can see every single eyelash.
With filmmaking, it's fantastic. You can use it on a small gimbal, handheld. I can actually film 8K RAW internally.
This camera is packed with the technology of the Z9 and more.
And
The
more.
Z8 totally
guys,
revolutionized the
breaking
way that I
news.
make my images.
It's everything
It's
any filmmaker could ask for.
$2,000.
The Nikon Z8 is the most phenomenal camera that Nikon has ever
okay, that's not
launched, and I think it's going to be a huge moment in Nikon's history.
The Z8 is the perfect follow-up to the Z9 and a true successor to the D850. The concept behind this hybrid camera is performance, usability, image quality, and handling all in a compact, lightweight form factor. a form factor that'll excite photographers and videographers shooting portraits, weddings, landscapes, indie films, video productions, wildlife, sports, and more. Equipped with Nikon's most powerful image processing engine, most advanced autofocus system, the industry's fastest full-frame electronic shutter, a 45.7 megapixel stacked CMOS sensor, and a blackout-free viewfinder, the Z8 embodies professional performance. That means sharper, crisper images, ultra-high resolutions, fast frame rates, files with extraordinary details and natural colors that make post-production work a dream. All that in a body that is 30% lighter and smaller than the Z9 and even 15% smaller than the D850. And if you shoot video, not only does this camera record
That hasn't been
8K
happening in
60p,
mirrorless for a while
12-bit
now.
RAW,
say.
but also 10-bit ProRes 422, all in camera.
Nikon is stepping up their video game.
Panasonic had that really cool S5 II launch video. Gotta catch up.
Yeah, is the image stabilization that good?
Closer to us or further back?
The eye tracking is sick. Like, that is awesome. Sick.
Wow, this is so pretty. Okay. Yeah. Fine. All right, let's go. Let's put the writing through there.
You can change white balance while I'm recording. You can even change the shift.
The light is on right now. Low light and there's a shadow and it's still catching her eye. See this arrow? If I decide that I wanted to focus on him,
rack focus to him.
it would rack focus to him, but I want to keep it on her for now. That looks so pretty, doesn't it? Yes, perfect. That's it.
Today, we celebrate a story of love, but not just any story. This is your story.
5 years ago, we stood together.
We made promises and kept them. Life happened and we held them tight. Lucky me, we keep dancing.
This is just very Nikon to do this. Just
After all these years, you
basically
continue to be the most honest, constant, peaceful, and beautiful partner I could ever dreamed of.
It was interesting that earlier they had somebody mention that you can change the white balance while recording, and I was like,
You make me so
I'm pretty sure you've
incredibly
always
happy.
been able to do that on every camera.
I love our
You just don't want to.
I love you, Carlos.
Actually, I go out of my way to have my camera not do that most of the time.
Stop, camera, stop.
I love you, Annabelle.
So I can
Thank you
actually
for all
confirm the
love,
megapixels now.
laughs, and
DNA
peace
has
you
it
bring to our
listing out.
They said 45. Didn't they?
Oh, they did say it?
Yep.
Okay.
Were we right?
From 5
And it
years
does have
ago
8K 60,
until now and forever. I still do. I still do.
4K 120. It has 4K 120. It appears to just have everything the Z9 has.
They said and more, which I'm waiting to see what the and more is.
Your
I think it's
hearts are each other's
fascinating.
dance partner, so may they continue to beat and dance forever.
I look ahead to our future. And I am so excited I get to experience all that life has to offer.
I do feel like, Brandon, this is how you would want to do a wedding film, though.
Yeah.
Basically.
Basically like a Dior commercial. Fragrance. I was gonna say,
I'm sorry, it is kind of funny.
It's very interesting. They just dropped a
From
film
tracking
right
and
in
hit
there.
rate
Yeah,
and
they
subject
just, like-
detection to low light accuracy,
kind of waiting
the
for what's
Z8 is
next.
equipped with the same powerful autofocusing system as the Z9. Using Nikon's proprietary deep learning algorithms, the autofocusing system continues to evolve, becoming more sophisticated through constant development. Z9 owners will recognize this with the multiple firmware updates available to them, adding entirely new features and improvements. Subject detection is so intelligent that it can identify 9 different types of subjects and track them with precision. This ranges from humans, animals, bikes, motorbikes, cars, trains, and now planes. Users of the Z8 don't have to manually push an individual focus point to lock on and compose their subject. Instead, the Z8 will make a focus point bigger or smaller on the subject and even narrow down the point when it detects heads or eyes. The Z8's powerful combination of subject detection and 3D tracking allows you to easily capture fast, erratically moving subjects such as birds, planes, and people, and keeps them in sharp focus. And those working in low light settings or night scenarios will appreciate that the Z8 can detect focus up to -7 EV. Couple that with starlight view mode and the camera can focus in a jaw-dropping -9 EV. And well, this creates new opportunities for photographers and videographers who shoot weddings, indoor sports, sunrises, night skies, and epic landscapes.
Oh boy, here we go. It's the epic landscape film.
Welcome to my office. Let's go.
Where's this desk at? Got him.
I'm Mike Measurewell II. I'm a landscape and extreme nature photographer.
Oh, I like that title. Extreme nature photographer.
My passion
like how he
takes
goes
me
by
across
this
the world in
Junior.
search of nature's wildest scenes and most beautiful landscapes. The new Nikon Z8 introduces an opportunity for landscape photographers to fully unleash their creativity, confidently work in difficult situations, and bring their camera into limitless locations. For my job, I need a camera that is versatile, compact, and capable of creating within all elements of nature.
I wonder if I'm the target
Compact
demographic for
size
this camera guy.
and weight allows me to carry more gear, explore
I was using
tighter
the Atlas,
locations,
the big Atlas
hike
bag.
to remote
Yeah, he
places,
is.
and even document the world from above. The Z8 features Nikon's incredible 5-axis in-body image stabilization, giving me the capability to create tack-sharp images in
know
even
what he's
the most
doing.
unstable conditions. As the day fades to night, the Z8 provides endless functionalities for night photography. From illuminated back buttons, digital
Yes, sir.
displays on S-series lenses, dual USB-C ports, and
Whoa,
warm
now
tone
that's cool.
illumination
Dual
combined with
USB-C
starlight view.
ports.
I have no trouble achieving sharp images and perfect compositions for night sky work. While out shooting in nature, having a camera that can withstand the elements is absolutely key. The Z8 continues to carry on the legacy of Nikon's incredible weather sealing. When it comes to video, the capabilities of the Z8 don't hold back. Videographers now have the ability to shoot up to an astounding 60 frames per second in 8K and up to 120 frames per second in 4K, all while taking advantage
This camera
of
really
Nikon's
is a bigger
NRAW
deal
and N-Log
as a
profiles.
video camera than a
Having
photo
the
camera.
ability to
You
see
know,
what you're shooting makes
as
all of
far
the
as what it's
difference
able
in
to
a frame.
do at that price
And the
point, at that
Z8's
$4,000
articulated
price point.
screen allows me to do
Yeah.
Like
just
that's
so.
no small thing.
Having
that it's,
spent my
you know,
career
4K
traversing the world
120,
in search
8K
of nature's
60.
beauty,
It's amazing
always
we
having
went
a
from
Nikon
like
camera in my
4K
hand.
60
The
being
Z8
like
continues to
a
provide
highlight
nothing
feature in a
but the
camera to
utmost
8K
confidence
60
in
being a
capturing
highlight
every
feature.
moment out
Yeah,
there.
no joke. And it wasn't that long.
No, it was like, oh.
What's the card slot situation?
Yes.
It is SD
This
and
is
CF
what
Express
it's all
TV.
about.
A dream for photography.
Traditionally, interchangeable lens cameras will have a mechanical shutter curtain, and the purpose of this curtain is to open to let light hit the sensor and close to keep light out. But with Nikon innovations in image processing and sensor design, we were able to eliminate this mechanical shutter, relying exclusively on an electronic shutter that's built into a full-frame stacked CMOS sensor.
So
with
my
the
question is
world's
does it have the
fastest
shutter
scan
shield?
rate. What does this mean? Well, virtually no internal
That the
moving parts,
Z9 has.
no wear and
Like
tear on the shutter, The ability to shoot
I
up
don't
to
know that it has to.
1/32,000th of a
Funny
second,
he says
and
no.
the shutter is
It's kind
absolutely
of funny he
silent.
says no
The
moving
Z8's
internal
45
parts. The
megapixel
whole
backside
sensor
illuminated
moves.
CMOS sensor
Yeah.
provides impressive
No, it's
detail
not
even
moving
low
now.
light,
Moving in there.
giving you the flexibility to shoot at higher ISOs when the situation demands. What's also flexible is your output options. Not only do you have the conventional 14-bit RAW and 8-bit JPEG file formats, but also 2 new additions for people looking to maximize the quality of their images while minimizing the size of their files. First is the 14-bit high-efficiency
they don't
RAW,
have
which
16-bit, do
retains
they?
the outstanding image quality of traditional RAW
I doubt
at
it.
approximately a third the file size. Wedding and event photographers, as well as sports shooters
I mean,
tasked
it's-
with capturing
it's the same thing as the
hundreds
Z9, it
or
sounds
even
like.
thousands of shots on the job will benefit from this groundbreaking RAW compression technology. And second is 10-bit HEIF, a first for Nikon cameras. This file format retains richer tonal gradation than
They
JPEG
chose to
with
go with
increased
HEIF on
luminance
how to say that.
at a comparable file
think
size.
everybody
Basically,
says
a
that
broader
file
dynamic
format
range
different.
that can be
HEIF,
viewed on
HEIF.
HLG-compatible TVs and PQ-compatible
Yes.
computer monitors
Yes.
and devices.
HEIF.
This is great for all kinds
Yeah.
of photography, including landscapes and portraiture. It's also great for making
to be
8K
fair, people say
HLG
Nikon a
time-lapse
bunch of different
videos
ways, too.
in camera.
Nikon.
To make sure your photos are tack sharp, the Z8's autofocus system is so sophisticated it can track the eyes of people, pets, and birds even when they're small in the frame. Couple that with the many AF area mode options, and you can designate specific areas in your frame
It does
where you
look
want
cool.
autofocus
It does
to
look like a
identify
little
your subjects.
Z850.
And
Yeah.
the Z8 has some new features for portrait photographers. Portrait impression balance gives you simple control over hues and brightness levels to fine-tune skin tones. Skin softening uses the Z8's intelligent deep learning algorithm to make skin look best while keeping eyes and hair tack sharp.
That's interesting.
And improved white balance gives
Brandon's
you more
like,
manual control for making subtle adjustments to your baseline color.
I wouldn't love, like, it makes sense if you're shooting an event, but I wouldn't love it just
Right.
putting that on. It's like putting a filter on.
One of the things that is very important to me while photographing a wedding is the documentary aspect of the storytelling. I'm capturing moments that
You're
cannot
really
be
going for
scripted.
wedding
I'm
photographers.
capturing moments that
I mean,
rarely ever
it
happen.
makes a ton of
ever again.
sense. Like, it's the first stacked sensor camera at this kind
When
of
Nikon
point.
asked me to try out the Z8,
Like, wedding
I was,
photographers are
first
gonna
of
be
all,
one of their
extremely
biggest
ecstatic.
buyers.
Having
Yeah,
come
for
from
sure.
shooting so many different Nikon cameras, the Z8 brings so many different bits and pieces from every single camera and puts it into this one very small body. So obviously, as an image maker, and particularly these days,
An
you're
image
bombarded with
maker.
so much in terms of inspiration. Everywhere you're going out, you see images everywhere. You are reacting to the scenes that you are
His interview
inspired by.
shot's a little
So the
crooked.
technology that is
Sorry, that
packed
doesn't
inside the
matter,
Z8
but
allows you
Toby's
as an
like
image
over there,
creator to
like,
focus purely
OCD.
on the art as opposed to fiddling too much on settings on the
Toby's
camera.
like, I
The
got
camera
up too
does
early
so
in the
much
morning
for
to
you
have a crooked
that it
interview
even
shot.
takes things to another level
Dang.
in terms of creativity.
These crooked interview shots.
The main two things I look for in a camera.
I mean, it
weight
is. I mean, now that you
and
mention it,
speed
it
of
is
use.
crooked.
And I say wait
Or
in the
they're on a
sense that
sinking ship.
it's very important to
Literally
me that
sorry
I
to
have
everybody
something
that
I can
didn't
just
notice
whip
that, and
out
I
to
was also
capture a particular
irritated.
scene at any time. The speed of use is really important to me because I don't want to have to think. I'm capturing very, very fast moments. I want a situation where I can just pick up a camera, take a shot, and boom. There are two main features that I am very, very much blown away by. The first one is focus. I've never worked with a camera that actually does the focus for you. I can just lift the camera up and it already knows what I
Did you
want
come from
it
manual
to
focus?
on. I love the fact that you can flip the screen up and put the camera out. I want to take a picture. I don't have to press
As
the
you know, for
viewfinder all the time.
photography
I just
purposes,
tap the
I
part of the
do
frame I want
love
to
that it
focus,
has
and it
that
does all the
same
work for you in
Z9
terms of
screen.
finding the focus in that
I
in
think
that space.
as strong as a video camera as this is, it's a little bit of a disappointment. It's not a tilt flip screen.
Yeah.
One of the
But
great things about the
the
camera
Z9's back
is
screen
its
is,
ability
like, kinda
to
my
pick up
favorite.
those essential parts in
For
the scene
photography, right?
that
For photography,
will
yeah.
sort of bring the story of the scene into
And you
the
have the
image. Most of
A7R5's
the
back
clients that I
screen, which
work
is really
with
cool.
choose
But
these places because they have some sort of
I
connections to
think
them.
that's really
I think
cool, but it
sometimes
is definitely like a
creators
layer of
sometimes
chaos.
miss
Like it's
the
useful, but it's
beauty or these connections.
A lot.
But if you can kind of capture the scene with a camera that is capable of capturing a whole array of light, and also being able to light those scenes in the way that you would like to light them as well, you can always create some really, really great stuff with them. My name is Jide Alakija. I'm the principal photographer of Alakija Studios, and I am a proud Nikon ambassador.
Conventional mirrorless systems capturing 10 or 12-bit video often require the addition of large external devices, which in turn require their own power, storage media, cords, and rigs to attach. But not the Z8. The Z8 gives you the flexibility to shoot gorgeous, full-frame 8K footage up to 60p and 4K
does it have
footage
a
up to
digital hot shoe?
120p slow motion
It's
in
got that
camera,
pass
meaning
cam.
no external device.
It looks like it.
This camera is built to be agile, allowing videographers to work more efficiently with a smaller setup and saves time and money. How so? With internal recording codecs that include 10-bit ProRes,
It's very interesting
422
messaging
HQ,
to be telling us
12-bit
that
8K
it does
and RAW,
everything internally,
12-bit
but then
4K
show a person with a
ProRes RAW
gimbal with an
HQ
external monitor and an
H.265.
easy cam.
The Z8 eliminates the need for an external
And a
recording device and
gimbal.
all the
Like,
cables
I-
and rigging required to piece
You
it all
don't need
together.
any of that though. It's
Instead,
just
the Z8
It's just the
records
visual. It's just the
directly to
visual
card slots built
messaging.
into
That's
the
all.
camera.
That's kind of
Now you
weird.
can hold the
Like I
camera and
totally
move
know
around
what they're saying
more
though. That's an
comfortably and
awesome part of
smoothly,
the
giving you
camera.
the advantage of a lighter camera system when shooting handheld or on a gimbal with fewer cables and less setup time. The processing power of the Z8's X-Speed 7 engine is what makes this all possible. X-Speed 7 is 10 times faster than its predecessor and unleashes the potential for more compelling video making, from extreme resolutions
that's the
without
same as the
cropping
Z9.
to long continuous recording times in 8
It would
and
almost have to
4K,
be. Like,
as well as fast, accurate focusing. Speaking of focusing, the Z8's face and eye detection is so good it can detect and track eyes even with sunglasses on. And it's so accurate that it can detect faces that take up as little as 3% of the frame's longest side. This is especially useful when capturing environmental scenes with people. For example, when you want to keep a wedding couple in sharp focus within an expansive landscape. But even more impressive, it also means that videographers can lock in on a person approaching from a distance, keeping the focus on the subject running toward the camera. And just like when shooting photos, subject detection, which can identify and lock focus on humans, birds, pets, vehicles, and more, works in combination with a variety of focus area modes, including subject tracking, so you can be super confident that you're getting the most important part of the shot in sharp focus. Focus area modes are a big important part of the Z8's autofocus system, especially for video. Whether you're isolating a subject that you want to keep in focus, or you're getting creative.
There's one
with
thing
focus
on the
pulls,
body that's a little bit
there are
annoying me
many
is that it looks like it
variety
has
of
the
focus area
same
options,
card
including
door as the
the ability
Z6 and
to
Z7,
customize your own
which was
focus
a
area
disaster.
space, giving you maximum freedom to compose
Just
shots
opened
any
all
way
the
you
time.
Just open
The
all. I
Z8
would
is
open my
loaded with
camera bag and
essential
it would just
tools
open
built
like
into the camera
more than
specifically
half the
for
time.
videographer.
It's actually a
These
perk.
include
It's
a
so you
waveform
can get
monitor
your
and
images to
zebra
your
stripes
computer
for
as
checking
soon as
exposure.
possible.
Focus
You don't even
booster
have
for
to think
confirming
about it.
sharpness when manual focusing. Linear focus for consistency when rotating the focus ring. Custom AF speed and tracking settings. Fine ISO adjustments. Time code linking to an Atomos UltraSync Blue device. Raw proxy files for easier post-production and more. And rest assured, you'll always know when you're
they're using
rolling
DaVinci
because
Resolve
the
in that
LCD
clip.
will show a red border
Interesting.
anytime you're recording.
Your Nikon
And just a
RAW
note, for those
will
of
work
you
in that
who
soon.
may be more familiar with manual focusing on non-Nikon video systems, the Z8 gives you the option to customize the direction of rotation of the focusing ring on the lenses as well as all the wheels on the camera. There are so many great features built into the Z8's video systems, it's impossible to mention them all here. The combination of power, performance, and compactness opens the door to so many great opportunities for videographers and hybrid shooters.
Oh boy, another film.
Look at that thick lens.
That is that is a thick lens, yes.
It
Sorry, I didn't mean to get everybody all aroused, but
85 1.2.
It's like, let's flex on Sony.
I'm Dixie Dixon. I'm a commercial fashion advertising photographer, film director, and Nikon ambassador based out of Dallas, Texas. When I picked up the Z8 from using the Z9 for about a year and a half, it was a seamless process. Everything was the same, the buttons were the same, and I think that really allowed me to just go in and create what I needed to.
That is kind of a big deal if it's a second body to keep it all even.
Yes.
That is one really annoying thing about using like an R5 and an R3 at the same time, is they are not the same, like setup at all.
Well, what Sony struggles with is that everything looks the same, but operably, there's some real differences.
It's very challenging when you're having to shoot both stills and video in the same production, but I found that the Z8
You guys,
really
you don't
makes
need
it
any extra
pretty
gear.
Seamless. It's definitely a challenge mentally because you got to think about moving images as opposed to just still images. It's a challenge that I'm definitely up for.
Do everything internal.
Does it all internal.
It still is nice. I appreciate that that they, they pack all that inside the body. It can get annoying with like media and stuff, like actually recording raw 8K to a memory card can be tricky to say the least. But
they missed the focus on the camel, or maybe they weren't
Having a
focusing on the
hybrid
camel.
type of camera for this type of production it's everything. It's of most importance because when you're having to shoot stills and go from stills to immediately shooting video, this camera allows you to do so seamlessly.
Just
the body style
took seconds to get that rig together, guys.
Smaller
Seconds.
body style is
Seamless.
really nice
Moments.
for video because you can throw it on a gimbal and get to work really quickly. And I really love the fact that you can also take high resolution stills from the actual video footage and they look exceptional.
When are camera companies gonna stop trying to advertise that as a feature? Pulling stills from video footage. Does anybody do that? Is anybody watching do that? I'd be really curious.
Thumbnails is the only reason I can think.
Yeah,
And that's
right,
not even,
exactly.
like, the same.
For this production,
At least
the
Canon's
Z8
moved away
was
from the
game-changing.
freaking
I loved every minute of creating
JPEG
this
4, whatever they called it.
MPEG 4.
Yeah.
Yep. Toby just went dark.
Having a camera with a sensor that achieves the world's fastest
Nikon could
scanning
focus
speed
on that.
and a processor that's just pure power opens up so many doors when it comes to high speed and fast action shooting. Following in the footsteps of the Z9, the Z8 carries over all of the features that sports, action, and wildlife photographers crave, from ultra-fast frame rates to precision autofocusing and a blackout-free viewfinder. While raw images can be taken at 20 frames per second for more than 1,000 frames per burst,
It is kind of
JPEGs
weird
can be
watching this.
taken
It's
at
like this
unheard of
weird
frame rates
kind of
from
deja
20,
vu
30,
because
60,
they're
all the way up to
advertising all these features
120
that are the same.
still frames per second.
59.
This means that
And
your
but
odds
they're
of
kind
landing
of
the
talking
decisive
about
shot
it like
are
it's
much,
new
much
most
greater,
of the time.
whether it's a
Like
bird
you
in
just
flight or
acknowledged that it's
peak
the same as
action
the
moment
Z9
at
a
a
second
sporting
ago,
event.
but
And
I
to
feel
take
like this
things even
video could have
further,
been wrapped
the
up
Z8
real
has a
quick.
pre-release
Everything's the same as
capture
the
mode that
Z9.
starts
You guys,
shooting a full second in advance of fully pressing the
took
shutter
the grip
release
off the
button,
Z9.
making those
Go
decisive moments
pre-order.
even easier to catch
it's
at
a
120
lighter,
frames per second.
non-gripped
So while
Z9.
you're tracking the
Hope
subject,
you guys are
if you want
happy.
to photograph, the camera is temporarily storing photos in the buffer just in case you weren't quick
And
enough
Toby
to
will
press
be
the
back
shutter
here in a
release
second
button
here.
when the action actually happens. The
Because
Z8 is also incredibly
connection
reliable handheld. It's equipped with a 5-axis image stabilization system that keeps things sharp. Coupled with select Z-series lenses with optical VR built in, the Z8's Synchro VR feature will activate, achieving an effect equivalent to 6 stops of image stabilization. And
I have found
to
that to
ensure
be
you're keeping
pretty
an eye on
pretty
the peak
effective on the
action,
Z9.
the Z8's truly blackout-free real-life viewfinder gives you a what you see is what you get experience with no skipped frames or loss of view
That is also
during
super nice on the
fast,
Z9.
continuous burst shooting. Imagine the advantage
That was a cool
you
transition.
now have when panning and following erratically moving subjects.
Good hit, Seneca!
The Z8 is awesome. The autofocus is tracking perfectly.
That's insane.
I love the versatility of this camera. The size of this makes it so easy to maneuver. I'm able to use a super wide angle lens all the way up to a 400 millimeter on a monopod, and it works great.
I was gonna say, like,
it wasn't
saying that, but using a giant 400 millimeter lens, like,
it's
so maneuverable.
The compact form factor makes it perfect to use in the studio, especially in situations just like this.
We can get right up into her eye and see the outline of every single one of her lashes. And the other thing that's impressive is how the skin tones hold, and like no highlights are blown out.
This camera really is a jack of all trades. The shots at 45 megapixels as still, and then a flick of a switch, and I'm able to shoot video capturing 4K at 120. For someone like me who's not a video expert, having all of this really makes this a hybrid camera that someone like me can use. Today we're on set making a short film with a small crew and 2 incredible athletes as our talent. We've got a full day, we're shooting day to night, really testing the limits of the Z8 as a video camera. Shooting in various frame rates, in different locations, and multiple lighting situations, all with different color temperatures. It has been incredible.
Got it, that's a wrap.
This is a cutting-edge camera, but what's a camera without the backing of a strong lens system? Today, the Z platform has dozens of optically advanced lenses, including 2.8 zooms, f1.2 primes, super telephotos, macros, compact lenses, and
I think
more.
the lens goes on the front.
The quality and performance of these lenses truly come to life when paired with the
real
extraordinary
photographers put it on the
sensor
back.
and image processing engine of the Z8. From Nikon's widest lens at 14 millimeters to the longest at 800 millimeters, technically 1600 when you add a teleconverter, the ever-growing lineup of sophisticated, optically superior Nikkor Z lenses offers clear, tack-sharp rendering performance, even at maximum apertures.
Telephoto in the middle
Z-series
there.
cameras
Like,
are
what is that?
built
Was
with
that
the largest
400,
full-frame
4.5?
mount in the industry, along with the shortest flange distance. The advantage? Nikkor Z lenses can gather substantially more light, perform at greater resolutions, and remain sharp to the edges of the frame, all while suppressing distortion. Image aberrations are more likely to occur with lenses on smaller mounts that require light to travel through a smaller space to reach the sensor.
Oh.
At the pinnacle of the Nikkor Z offering is
Nikon
the
does
S
have the
line,
largest.
Nikon's most advanced optics.
That was a
from
major
resolution to
bird.
performance
Sony.
to build quality.
I
These
didn't
include
understand what he was saying,
remarkable
but it
primes
was
for
a
portraits
bird.
and video work, like the 85
Sony's like, I'm
millimeter
offended. I don't know why,
1.2
but I'm
and
offended.
1.8. Super telephotos for nature and sports, like the 400 millimeter 2.8 and 600 millimeter f4, both with built-in teleconverters. And the essential trio of 2.8 lenses that cover a wide variety of applications.
I've never
These,
heard somebody
as
call
well
it
as
a trio.
all other S-line lenses, produce images
well,
with
I don't know that they can
beautiful
call it the
bokeh
Trinity
and
on-
sharp point light reproduction
is it
with
like
virtually
official-
no focus
little
breathing.
secular thing, I
And
guess.
if you're using these lenses to shoot videos, you'll be happy to know that the autofocus motors are
Which is-
silent and white color reproduction is consistent from lens to lens, making post-production more efficient when using multiple Nikkor Z lenses. Now, if you're looking to switch to Z-series mirrorless for the first time and you currently own Nikkor glass for your DSLR, Nikon offers an adapter called the FTZ2, which will allow you to connect any one of approximately 360 Nikon f-mount lenses to the Z8. There's
I like how they put
downgrading
whatever
image
that
quality
lens
either,
is on it.
as the
Like,
adapter is only
of all
there
the
to
ones that they
recreate
could
the
adapt,
distance
they choose
between the
like
sensor and
a
the rear
random.
element of your lens.
Like,
In fact,
I think that's
all
even
of your
an
lenses
APS
will work
lens.
with image stabilization
Yeah.
system built into the camera, regardless of whether or not the lens has any. The adapter also has built-in contact points so that your lenses will communicate autofocus and exposure information back and forth with the camera. Finally, on the topic of optics, you may be wondering, since there's no mechanical shutter, what protects the sensor when changing lenses? Well, the Z8, like the Z9,
Okay,
has a
that's
sensor
great.
shield,
To
which
answer
can be
your question
programmed to
from
deploy
earlier.
when the camera is turned off, so
They
that
have
you
the
can
sensor
remove
shield.
a
That's
lens safely
huge.
while out in the elements.
But it's also a moving part in the body, so
A second moving part. Maybe it doesn't
Morton
move. Maybe
Helmer?
it's always there. It can focus so well in dark that the...
What I love is that the constant stream of hype videos is slowly working. Like we're just getting a little more hype.
A little more. They've chose like the trendiest music. Not trendy, but like...
Hey, look who's back.
Oh.
I'm back.
Oh, he is back.
Look at all that dynamic range you got.
I'm back with a lot of technical issues, but I'm here.
Do you shoot Sony?
You missed Nikon burning Sony. Being like,
I heard it happening, sort
like,
of.
talking about it, the light going through the smaller mount, like being so hard.
Sony's just sitting there with their just a little smaller 51.2.
Yeah, just a little.
Just a smidge.
With all its chromatic aberration, I guess. I don't. That was a little anti-dramatic. That was like anticlimactic. The fox just stopped. I thought it was gonna like pounce onto something or something.
Just like, nope, lying down.
Nope, I'm gonna take a nap.
I'm exhausted by these hype videos too, guys.
It's like actually just falling over in defeat because its mount's too small.
When photography or videography is your livelihood or a serious passion, you want to make sure that your camera is as ergonomic and tough as it is powerful. Rest assured,
that's true.
Build quality is at the core of Nikon craftsmanship. The Z8's compact yet robust body, along with the included ENEL15 series rechargeable lithium-ion battery, has been designed to work in freezing weather, rugged environments, and other extreme conditions. The front cover of the Z8's body is made from magnesium alloy to secure the image sensor with high precision and to allow heat dissipation. It also ensures mount rigidity when using super telephoto lenses. The back and top covers are made of a cerebral P-series material new from Teijin, a world-renowned Japanese manufacturer. Comparable to the strength of magnesium alloy, this lightweight material provides high impact resistance for the entire camera while reducing weight. Weather sealing is applied across the entire system, protecting the camera while working in harsh environments where dust and drip resistance is so important. And to protect the image sensor while traveling, the Z8 comes equipped with a VR lock mechanism that holds the sensor securely in place when powered off. This prevents the sensor from being jostled or becoming misaligned.
That's not a moving part though, right?
Is known for, the Z8 is easy to operate with a deep, comfortable grip and buttons and dials intuitively laid out to allow for easy all-day operation. When you need more battery power, consider adding the MB-N12 battery grip. It also allows for more comfortable vertical shooting.
Full-size
The batteries inside the
when
grip
you
are
need
hot
more
swappable, so you'll never
battery
need to
power
interrupt
because
recording
the
when a battery
batteries
needs to
are
be
not very
replaced.
strong.
At the back of the camera is the 4-axis vertical and horizontal tilting LCD. It gives you the freedom to work from a variety
I really wish
of
they had
angles
been like,
that would
for when you
otherwise
need a
be
battery
difficult to
grip,
monitor.
go buy a
And when you're shooting
Z9.
vertically, all the menus and display
It's not
information
that much more
also
money,
appears
actually.
vertically. Redundancy is a must for professional work and is a safety net for when scenarios can't repeat themselves.
That's a weird
That's
way
why
to
the
flex
Z8
that.
includes
Like,
2
we
card
did
slots.
not.
High-performance CF Express Type B slot, the industry-leading format for quickly writing heavy data to the card, like long continuous bursts and ultra-high-resolution 8K video.
Oh, it can do
and
both?
An SD card slot, which accepts more universally available cards and balances write speed with the cost of memory. The Z8 is also equipped with a variety of other pro-focused features like illuminated buttons, a full-sized HDMI port, and dual
yesterday when
USB-C
we saw
ports,
that, it
one
was
for
true.
constant power delivery and the other for communication with external devices like the MCN10 remote grip. There's also built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth for wirelessly transferring images or tethering, a 10-pin accessory port, a dedicated focus mode button,
I wonder when
Two
those will die
programmable
out.
function buttons at the front of the camera, and a third programmable function button at the back. With the use of a third-party USB-C to Ethernet adapter, the entire network menu built into the Z8 will be unlocked, including an FTP protocol that can be used in conjunction with Nikon's NX Field multicam solutions.
All right, guys. I feel like we're starting to just recycle stuff here, so I'll leave that on in the background. What are thoughts here? I mean, it's pretty much what everybody thought it was going to be.
Just kidding.
Well, I mean, just a couple months ago, there were some questions about, what exactly was Nikon going for here, and the answer was baby Z9. It's very obvious. It's not even a baby Z9. It's just a Z9 without a battery grip.
Right.
That costs $1,600 less.
15, I think.
Yeah, $1,500 less. Yeah.
But which is actually like the Z9 is not that expensive actually, considering what it is. And this is like a really good way of also getting, like, I don't know, just the value. I'm trying to process something real quick mentally. I'm not here yet.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, it's
It is.
Yeah.
It is I just realized, compared to like the R5, which, give it some slack, it's 2+ years old now.
Almost 3 years old.
Yeah. But it's that plus it has AK60 and stuff. So I mean, Nikon did match at least what the standard is right now for basically that camera at that price range. So, and I thought it was going to be $4,500 too. So that's a
it's a big deal. Like when you think about a camera at this price point being available with all of these features. Like, I mean, it certainly matches the A1. Like what does the A1 have that this doesn't have, other than 30 frames a second raw stills, right? That's it. And this has 30 frames a second raw JPEG and HEIF, or however you say it.
Hefy.
So I think the A1, like, and then the A7R5 still has more megapixels, and that's just going to be a big deal to certain people. So I don't, I think that as far as that goes, like, it definitely makes me feel like A7R5 could have brought the video features quite a bit more.
But at least it has the megapixels as something that makes it unique,
differential. Yeah. And then the Canon R5, I mean, now, to be fair, right now you can get the Canon R5 for $3,300, so $700 less, or $3,400, so $600.
And they're readily available. One thing I thought that was funny in the beginning of the video was, sorry, the guy with two cameras. One that was kind of funny in general, but two, I'm like, interesting that you think you're going to be able to get two of them.
So
maybe in 2025.
I think it's an interesting strategy from Nikon. I'm going to be this camera is going to be popular. It's going to be, because the D850 was popular. It's the same. It hits that same market segment hard. For me personally, I wish that had been 61 megapixels in the Z system. Yes, I do wish that slightly higher megapixel point was in the Z system, but it's hard to complain about. I mean, the Z9 is a fantastic camera, so it's really hard to complain about them just making it smaller.
Yeah, well, and I would guess that actually the Z7 III, when it comes out, will have 61 or more, maybe. Who knows? But
yeah, who knows? Yeah, so I would agree. I think that that's kind of where they're going with it. So
what were you gonna say, Toby? I think we interrupted.
I mean, that was basically what I was gonna say. The other thing is it is gonna hinge on. Brandon was joking about it. It's gonna hinge on if they can make the camera in a lot of ways. Like, can people buy the camera and get it shipped to their house sooner than a year?
Right.
Will it be going to be paying $8,000 to get one in their hands. Like with the Z9 at one point.
Right, exactly.
Or
some of this stuff is a little concerning. Like, and I like in the end, I guess it doesn't matter if you're like a real Nikon loyalist. Like, you're not gonna switch just because it's gonna be a few extra months. But it does make the idea of like looking at switching a lot scarier. And then with the way that they run their NPS stuff, giving
right
Nikon professionals the first bid at the camera.
The first
like,
batch, I mean, exactly. Like the first batch that B&H lands are probably mostly going to go to NPS members, you know?
They almost need to give at least like a small selection out for people that are not NPS. Like, I'm not saying a lot, but just like what that does in my mind for Nikon is it kind of limits their ability to get people to switch.
Right.
Like, they're throwing all this shade at Sony, which some of it's valid, but it's kind of like, if you don't give people the ability to switch, they're not going to switch. So
exactly. Yeah. I mean, and I will be taking full advantage of NPS in this case. But I also do agree that the NPS system is not a great look, because meanwhile, it's not super hard to get into. Like, they do go through and make sure that like you're actually doing work with your cameras. You know, it's not just a formality. Like, they do want to know that you are a professional. And it takes months to do. So,
but
it generally, right, at least right now it does.
Yeah. The problem with it though is not as much for interior Nikon users or whatever, like internal. It's for like Sony people, like Sony people that shoot with the A1, like we were kind of saying, should be upset by this camera, actually. Like, it's
I agree.
$2,500 cheaper, does everything minus 10 frames per second, plus has 8K 60 and 8K 60 RAW. So it's like just kind of a better video camera. I mean, you could argue about like some of the maybe like autofocus things, but even then I would guess that the autofocus is probably similar. And you're not giving those people the ability to change. Like, that's the problem. Like, they can't switch because of NPS. Like, or they're not NPS specific.
Well, I mean, eventually they will be able to, and we can hope that Nikon has learned, maybe the hard way, because I think that it stunted the Z9. The Z9 was primed to really hit a next level with people buying it. Well, a lot of people did buy it. Like, the Z9 was extremely popular, but they were so hard to get. It really, like, they were not readily available until a year after launch, and that's just not acceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand there's lots of things that go into the supply and demand of, like, the last several years with COVID and everything. But even still, like, people were able to get the R5 in summer 2020, right? And people have been able to get all the Sony cameras, no problem. And, Nikon's a smaller company, and I feel like they're stunting themselves by doing the NPS thing on top of that.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like they go to a certain type of person, and then, and then it takes forever for, honestly, the people who they're advertising to with this video. I mean, I guess in theory, all of them could be members of NPS, but
I mean, they are focusing on professionals, and like, the only difference, I guess, is that they're limiting it to people that are like outside the Nikon system that might want to switch. So Canon and Sony and whoever other users, Panasonic, because Toby told me that one's a big one.
Yeah.
But
Toby said that's an actual company.
Yeah, that's a company out there, apparently. Did I pronounce it right?
But yeah, I this camera is a huge deal at its price point. I feel like Nikon's done it. Can they get them out? If they can, I think it will actually be a pretty big deal. And I feel like kind of not a watershed moment, but it's certainly Nikon's going to have the best value camera.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right now, for sure.
For like value for bang for buck.
Like if you've got $4,000 to spend on a camera body, you know, brand agnostic, this is the camera, hands down. So
if I wasn't where I was, if I was still back with like the A7 IV with Sony, I would consider switching actually. So
yeah. Well, the stacked sensor at this price point, the high res stacked sensor, it's a big deal. So congrats Nikon. Please have a bunch of these to ship, because that's going to be the big issue. So, all right. Well, we have shoots to get to today. So we have actual photography work to do. So we're going to have to go ahead and hop off here. Any final thoughts and comments?
Maybe the shortage is because they can't find enough mechanical shutters.
Toby,
maybe it's the shutter shield. It's the real hang up.
Yeah, the shutter shield. Yeah, I'm very happy that the shutter shield is in this camera. That's a big deal. So
one of those non-moving parts that they have in the
camera. Exactly, one of the non-moving parts in the camera. So
I mean, I want to see them release new Z6 and Z7, like the third iteration of both of those lines.
Yeah,
I think that's really what's going to make or break them, because I still feel like a camera at this price point is just high enough up the price bracket that a lot of people would rather not or won't buy it. So I think it's important, especially for getting people to switch to Nikon, and they don't seem too it's time to see what those new cameras are going to be. I hope it's before the end of the year. So that would be my main thing.
Yeah.
Because the Z6 and Z7 II both feel really long in the tooth.
Really old right now.
Well, and they need a Z6 III that has some decent video features in it, so people can really use this system for video. Because I know that's what stopped you at one point, Toby. So
yeah,
indeed.
Well, thanks so much for watching. We will probably be doing a stream probably next week, early next week, and we will talk more about it as more information becomes available. We also are going to be getting a Z8 in to review and talk about and share. So, but we're doing it the old-fashioned way, pre-ordering it, all that. So,
not bad.
Yes.
Go ahead.
They're sending it to us, so you'll have to wait until it comes out.
Unless Nikon, if you see this and want to send us one.
Anyway, okay. So with that, we'll see you on the next adventure.
See ya.
Bye.